Tarkov is a naturally competitive game. With the stakes being so high each raid, it only makes sense that one might become relatively passionate about whether you survive raids, kill other players, or bosses alike. It's eat or be eaten in the world of Tarkov. However, what tends to cross a line for myself personally is when the game gets put up into an actual competitive scenario, where money and potential reputation is put on the line. Here, we begin to see the problems of Tarkov stretched to their absolute limits. Everything that can go wrong with the game bubbles up to the surface for thousands of people to see. There is a reason why the meme of esports ready exists. This game in its current state should never be played for money. It's so impractical, even if there are tons of fun to be had. It just doesn't make sense for people to spend time and effort sweating in a tournament setting where all the randomness of Tarkov that we naturally and normally enjoy can blow back in your face and cost you potentially real-world currency. Maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic with this. If there isn't any money on the line and it's just people coming together to play Tarkov at a high level, then there isn't an issue with that at all. But when money is added, it can become a toxic cesspool of the game's glaring issues coming to a head. So please join me as we discuss why competitive Tarkov shouldn't exist in its current format, and be sure to subscribe for future videos. Like I mentioned at the start, the meme of Tarkov being esports ready exists because the game has so many issues. This has existed for many years now, and you usually hear people say it immediately after they die to some typical Tarkov shenanigans, whether it's bugs, glitches, or network problems. Any of these followed by a death will usually result in the individual saying, esports ready. And I mean, I laugh and we all laugh at this joke, but in all seriousness, a game that isn't consistent and is problematic on a day-to-day basis as Tarkov is, should not be played for money. I'm sure there are other games that fit into this category as well. I mean, you could argue with day one PUBG when it was initially released, but we're talking mainly about Tarkov here. Even when BSG sanctions an event run by a community member and even provides special servers for those players so they aren't playing with random denizens of the internet, I still find it difficult to watch those tournaments. Of course, it can be fun and exciting to watch the players with the most hours logged into the game go at it with one another. And again, if there wasn't a prize on the line except for bragging rights, it feels justified for those kinds of events to exist. It's all banter, people get to limit test their skills against their peers, and they get to entertain thousands of viewers. It's a win-win for everybody. But personally, the moment any kind of monetary incentive is added, that's where a line gets crossed. It's hard to watch those events and people get frustrated with their loss, not because the other person outclassed them, but because the issues with Tarkov crept up at the worst possible moment. It doesn't really need to be stated again, but the technical issues with the game alone should prevent many events from even occurring in the first place. It's a shame to see people play so hard and to go back and watch how many times Tarkov in its netcode screws people over who might have had an actual chance of taking it all. It's one of those things where BSG tries to do the right thing and provides some entertainment to those who are gonna participate, and to those who simply might just watch. But their own game works against them and can easily mess things up for those involved, which is why I am happy Arena is just gonna exist in the near future. Arena might be able to save and cobble together what should be their competitive scene in the Tarkov universe. That has been a primary goal for Arena directly from BSG's mouth. And we saw that firsthand at TwitchCon, and while it wasn't perfect, we had some promise and potential. Remember, that version of Arena was an older version. It was lacking some of the spectating tools and optimizations according to Nikina, who jumped on the mics for a little while and answered some questions. So the hope is that the version of Arena that releases to the public runs better and plays better than what was shown on stage. Because as I said many times to myself, if Arena regarding its netcode runs even just 50% better than Tarkov does, with desync and dying around walls and the like, we might have the groundwork set for a massive competitive scene. And it's here where those tournaments and events can be played for money, not traditional Tarkov, but in the Arena. Very recently, BSG organized an event for any size of streamer who within the last month streamed 100 hours of Tarkov. Notice that stipulation. It would occur over the course of 9 days, and each day would have challenges that would need to be complete to earn points. At the end of those 9 days, whoever has the most points gets a streamer item of their choice added to the game. which I do think is an interesting alternative to just money or new accounts or anything like that. It's something that will be immortalized into the game and be there forever. However, it became very apparent that the challenge was going to have the shortcomings we're used to whenever BSG tries to run an event of any kind. This entire event focuses on elements of the game I think streamers aren't really interested in. Now, I know that sounds stupid. Streamers play the game, so it shouldn't matter what part of the game they engage with, and to some extent you are correct. But if we look at just the first day of challenges, kill Killa, boss kill, okay, that makes sense. Find a Bitcoin, find a GPU, 2 scav kill components, and finding streamer items. Where are the PMC components day 1? Where's my kill PMCs, 1 point for each dog tag extracted with? What this does is set the precedent that killing AI and looting around a map are more enticing components for an event than finding and engaging in PvP, especially considering this is called a streamer challenge. You'd think a critical component of this to the entire event would be running into other streamers and fighting them, but no, loot the map, kill scavs, try to kill the boss. Do that for 8 hours, wash, rinse, repeat. And that's just after the first day. It was very clear people were not happy with this event. People were quitting, going to extremely low population servers so they don't have any real competition. This isn't the first time this has happened, but it shines a light on why Tarkov shouldn't be competitive or taken seriously in that realm. The randomness that the game has innately built into it can literally be the reason why you don't get some of these challenges completed. And it's a shame that PvP isn't factored into any of the day's events. Not to mention, with previous events, there has been drama with players calling out other players for cheating, which is a whole other can of worms, and while those claims ended up being bogus, because cheating is so rampant in Tarkov across the entire game, the idea of someone cheating in a tournament where, again, money is on the line, doesn't feel that far-fetched. I feel bad for BSG. They want to just put something together for players and create some competition and rally the community together. But most of the time they lose sight of what these events should be and how they should be orchestrated. It ends up turning into a PvE farm fest without much acknowledgement of the other players around them. This was supposed to be an easy win for BSG, but instead it ended up causing more problems than it solved. I hate to say it out loud, but it's pretty on brand for them at this point regarding this stuff. Competitive Tarkov shouldn't be a thing, at least not right now. Wait until Arena comes out and we all get some time with that. Plenty of people will be having conversations about the new mode and whether or not that will actually be esports ready. Apparently there's a Tarkov TV live stream occurring on the 14th of this month, so maybe we'll get some more insight into what's going on with Arena and if we can expect a more accurate release date for it. But for now, just don't take competitive Tarkov seriously. It has zero weight in the grand scheme of things. Just play the game and do your best to enjoy it. And if you find yourself getting upset or frustrated with the game, that's just a sign of needing to take a break. And we've all been there at one point or another. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Be sure to leave your thoughts about competitive Tarkov down below in the comments, and subscribe for more videos about the angles and smaller niche communities of the game that might occur and become much more prevalent in the near future. I hope to see you in future ones.